Hey everyone, okay, I am back with part 2 of this massive end of year haul. Get your notebooks out, get cozy, because right now we're going to talk about some series. You can still buy fuckathon stuff, like this mug. All right, here we go. I'm going to talk about 4 series. For 3 out of the 4 series, I have purchased the next book. And for 1 of the series, I purchased like the whole thing. So we'll start with like the whole kit and caboodle one first. So this, my dear friends, is the entire Earthsinger Chronicles, written by L. Penelope. So if you watched Written with Purpose, you will know that I interviewed L. Penelope, who wrote this wonderful series, and I also read the first series, the first book in the series, which is called The Song of Blood and Stone. So let me tell you about how this happened, because I do enjoy series. I don't read them a lot just because I don't have as much time. When I was younger, in my youth, in the olden days, I used to read a lot of series because I could move through them really quickly. But now with life and adult obligations and things like that, I move through things a little bit slower than usual. But let me first read the synopsis. Okay. The kingdoms of Elsira and Lagramar have been separated for centuries by the mantle, a magical veil that has enforced a tremulous peace between the two lands. But now the mantle is cracking, and the true father, ruler of Lagramar and the most powerful Earthsinger in the world, finally sees a way into Elsira to seize power. All Jasminda ever wanted was to live quietly on her farm, away from the prying eyes of those in the nearby town. Branded an outcast by the color of her skin and her gift of earth song, she's been shunned all her life and has learned to steer clear of the townsfolk, until a group of Lagramari soldiers wanders into her valley with an Elsiran spy, believing they're still in Lagramar. Through Jack, the spy, Jasminda learns that the mantle is weakening, allowing people to slip through without notice. And even more troubling, Lagramar is mobilizing. And if no one finds a way to restore the mantle, it might be too late for Elsira. Their only hope lies in uncovering the secrets of the queen who sleeps, and Jasminda's earth song is the key to unravel them. Thrust into a hostile society and a world she doesn't know, Jasminda and Jack race to unveil an ancient mystery that might offer salvation. So, if you want to know more about my feelings and thoughts after having read The Song of Blood and Stone, you can check the cards because I will link the video to that. So the first version of the story that I read had a different cover. It was hardback, and it's actually a slightly different edition from this one, because my understanding is that this one has a whole extra like chapter or such in here. So yes, so this one is the special edition with expanded all new scenes. So it'll kind of be like reading it anew. And I will probably have to start from the beginning. But, so I bought this off of L. Penelope's own website. So I got like a few different goodies, which I'll show you. So the first thing that she did was she signed each one. So this one says, "In Jerry, sing your song. Enjoy, L. Penelope." So that was very sweet. Thank you very much, Leslie. I also received a bookmark with the novella collection on the back, as well as 2 stickers. One that said "New worlds are born out of destruction." You see that, hopefully. And the second one is Song of Blood and Stone, Book 1. So they're kind of, I could treat them as badges, and I'll probably put them in my my planners once I've had an opportunity to read them. I hope you can see that. It looks like you might not. I'll put it right in front of my face, so hopefully you see that. And in her note, she writes, "Thank you, and Jerry, so much for your support. I sincerely hope you enjoy the series, Leslie." On her personal stationery. Thanks, Leslie. So that's the first one. And so a couple of things I wanted to make sure I said to you: that series are a commitment, and when I purchase a whole series, it means that I'm interested. It means one of two things: I'm interested, or I'm reading the series for research purposes. This is because I am interested. I really want more of this world. After I read the first book, I thought there was more for me to explore. There is a queer couple who emerges in the last quarter of this book, and I understand that they show up as a major pair of protagonists in one of the subsequent books. So I'm looking forward to that. And these covers were drawn by Jamie Jones, and there's a sort of maybe not watercolor, but they're painted. They've got a painting. They look like they were painted, and I like paintings, so I like these covers, and I'm glad that I now have all of them. So if I were to read the inscription and the synopses for all of them, it would give spoilers, which I don't really care about, but apparently it's a thing on Booktube. You're not supposed to give spoilers. You're supposed to let people know. So maybe should I mean, okay, I am going to read the synopses, so you should just stop here and wait till I hold up the next set of books, the next series, if you don't want to hear them. So this is book 2. This is Whispers of Shadow and Flame, Earthsinger Chronicles, book 2. And it says on the front, "The cursed will face the gods. They have nothing to lose." So there we've got this cover. And while you're looking at the cover, I'll read the back. "The mantle that separates the kingdoms of Elsira and Lagramar is about to fall, and life will drastically change for both kingdoms. Born with a deadly magic she cannot control, Kiara is forced to become an assassin. Known as the Poison Flame in the kingdom of Lagramar, she is notorious and lethal, but secretly seeks freedom from both her untamed power and the blood spell that commands her. She is tasked with capturing the legendary rebel called the Shadow Fox, but everything changes when she learns her target's true identity. Darvin Old Teliro may be the most powerful Earthsinger in generations, but guilt over those he could not save tortures him daily. He isn't sure he can trust the mysterious young woman who claims to need his help, but when he discovers Kiara can unlock the secrets of the past, he can't stay away. Kiara and Darvin grapple with betrayal, old promises, and older prophecies, all while trying to stop a war. And when a new threat emerges, they must beat the odds to save both kingdoms." So that is Whispers of Shadow and Flame. And then Leslie wrote, "And Jerry, stay spellbound. I shall." I also got a bookmark and a sticker. Okay. All right. So book 3 is Cry of Metal and Bone. It's got a lavender cover. These covers are really nice. "The mantle dividing Elsira and Lagramar has fallen as the two kingdoms struggle to unify. One threat stands above them all. As desperate Lagramari flee their barren land for a chance at a better life in Elsira, a shadowy group with ties to the Elsiran government launches an attack on their own soil. With threats of more violence, an unlikely crew is assembled to investigate. Among them are Lisvet Niral, a disgraced socialite seeking redemption for past mistakes, and Ty Summerhawk, a foreign smuggler determined to keep a promise he made to a dead man. It's a race against time in this world of deadly magic, secret agendas, and court intrigue to discover those responsible before the next assault. And in another land, a new enemy awakens, one that will strike terror in the hearts of gods and men. Okay, so this is like big, right? It's epic fantasy, big world, big world. And then this is number 4. This is my favorite cover of them all. And this is Requiem of Silence. This is the final book in the series, the final novel in the series, because there's also this to talk about. So you've got that, and there is a bit of a spoiler here. So civil unrest plagues the nation of Elsira as refugees from their old enemy Lagrimar seek new lives in their land. Queen Jasminda is determined to push the unification forward against growing opposition and economic strife. But the true father is not finished with Elsira, and he may not be acting alone. He has built a powerful army, an army whose leaders cannot be killed. An army that will require nether song and the help of friends and foes of Elsira alike to stop it. Former assassin Kiara will join the other nether singers to harness this power, a harness that can save or end Elsira. But time is of the essence, and the nether singers may not be ready by the time the true father strikes. Sisterhood Noviate Zeli will go to the reaches of the living world to find people to help save the kingdoms. When armies meet on the battlefield, a new world will be forged, whether by the hands of gods or men remains to be seen. Okay, so that's Requiem of Silence. And we've got, so she writes, in Jerry, love casts a spell. Yes, it does. And so she's got the bookmark and another sticker for Requiem of Silence. Can you see that? Is it getting lit? I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully. Requiem of Silence. So that's book number 4. And so we've got the 4 books. And then we have the complete Earthsinger Chronicles novellas. So there are 3 novellas here. And the novellas are written, I think one is a prequel, and then one in between each of the 2 other novellas. So we've got a reluctant queen, a sheltered teen, a dangerous mage. Their futures are intertwined. The paths they walk will ultimately determine the fate of their people. Seeds sown in the past will bear unexpected fruit, and what's come before could be the prologue to salvation. Delve deeper into the world of the Earthsinger Chronicles with these prequel novellas full of magic, adventure, destiny, and love. So there are 3 novellas here. There's Breath of Dust and Dawn, Hush of Storm and Sorrow, Echoes of Ash and Tears. And I think I've talked about the thing of thing and thing pattern in titles, and I don't mind it here, actually. So L. Penelope writes, in Jerry, live your truth. You are magic. Yes, Leslie, I am. Thank you for the reminder. And then we've got a bookmark here, and the bookmark is based off of the first cover. I hope you can see that. All right, so let me just see here about, there's a bonus epilogue for Cry of Metal and Bone. So this is like a very, very epic world, and I think she's got the reading order. Okay, in the book, so this will say, so the first novella, Breath of Dust and Dawn, begins after the events of Song and Blood and Stone. It's an extended epilogue and a prequel, and is intended to be read after reading the first book. So first you read Song of Blood and Stone. Then you read Breath of Dust and Dawn. And then we've got number 2. Okay, then after that, you've got Hush of Storm and Sorrow, 105. And that is... So Hush of Storm and Sorrow is intended to be read after Whispers of Shadow and Flame. So you read book 2, then you read the novella, and then after you read the novella, $2.49. Then there's a special bonus epilogue to Cry of Metal and Bone. So you read Cry of Metal and Bone, and then you read the other novella. It's like except not a choose your own adventure, but it's pretty cool. And then 287, is this one written after the end of them all? I don't know. And then you read, and then there's one right after Cry of Metal and Bone. So each of the novellas go in between the novels, but this is like the last of everything. So basically, as a slow reader, like what I need is probably to put a couple months aside to read all of these. I don't know when I'm going to do this because I need to read them one after the other. And this is a commitment. Like, this is a quarter of a year of reading for me right here. So I don't know when I'm going to do it. It might be maybe in the summer. I don't know. But I'm going to need 3 months to read this. So that's that. All right. So that is the Earthsinger Chronicles. That kind of calls for like a reading group situation. So if you're interested in that would be great. I should also now say that Elle Penelope has a very vibrant life. She does weekly videos on her YouTube channel. She also has a wonderful newsletter, and she gives you a sweet little video when you join the newsletter. And then she has, I think, either articles or videos. I'm not sure if you can still find those videos, but she does a video after each of the books, so you can kind of read along and follow along with other people who are reading through the series as well. All right, so the next series I want to talk about, I've read 2 out of the 4 books. So this is the Immortal African series, or African Immortals. And this is a series by the lovely and brilliant and talented Tananarive Due, written over a span of many years. I read 2 of these books before I realized, because I read them a long time ago, before I realized that they were actually, I read these 2, before I realized that they were part of a series, and I didn't understand the order. It was very confusing. This is pre-Booktube, pre-lots of things. So I'm going to read the whole thing again. So I'm reading this because of Tananarive Due, and because it's vampires and African vampires, and I think that's great. And I wrote here, I read them out of order, but I'm a different woman now. One of the books was blurbed. I think all of them might have been blurbed by Octavia Butler. Octavia Butler and Tananarive Due were in Community together, so that's really exciting. I do remember many of the elements of the story, and I enjoyed the elements of the story. And there's like some hot romance going on too, so that's cool. All right. So the first one is called My Soul to Keep. Jessica is an African-American journalist, as ambitious as she is bright. She is chasing the biggest story of her life, a story that strikes closer to home than she knows. Dawit is an immortal, whose ancient thirst for wisdom leads him to break the first commandment of his kind, not to fall in love. Together they are about to pay the ultimate price for their ambition and their desire. Now, Octavia E. Butler blurbed this book. When was the last time you saw a book that was blurbed by Octavia E. Butler? Never, right? Okay. I enjoy reading the kind of novel that seduces me right into it and makes me forget about work or sleep. My Soul to Keep does that beautifully. So, My Soul to Keep. After that, we've got The Living Blood. Okay, so just if you don't want to hear these because they feel like spoilers, just turn the volume down. So Jessica Jacobs-Wold has somehow survived the worst that any mother or wife could ever endure, the deaths of her husband and first daughter. But now, 4 years later, not only is the nightmare continuing, it may have only just begun. Jessica has discovered the terrifying truth behind the legacy that her husband left to their second daughter, Fauna. A legacy preordained 1,000 years before her time and drenched in powerful lifeblood that now courses through her veins. As young Fauna begins to display unearthly abilities that are quickly spiraling out of control, she becomes a target of those who will stop at nothing to exploit her power, and the unwitting touchstone in an ancient supernatural battle whose outcome may decide the fate of all humanity. So this is The Living Blood. So that is book 2. Book 3, which I have read, is called Blood Colony. There's a new drug on the street, Glow. Its main ingredient is blood, the blood of immortals. Said to heal almost any illness, it is distributed by an underground railroad, a small but powerful colony of drug peddlers slowly wiping out the AIDS epidemic and other diseases around the world. Meet Fauna Wold, a 17-year-old, the only immortal born with the living blood. She can read minds and her injuries heal immediately. When her best friend, a mortal, is imprisoned by Fauna's family, Fauna helps her escape, and together they run away from Fauna's protected home in Washington State to join the Underground Railroad. But Fauna has more than her parents to worry about. Glow peddlers are being murdered by a violent 100-year-old sect with ties to the Vatican. Now, when Fauna is most vulnerable, she is being hunted to fulfill an ancient blood prophecy that could lead to countless deaths. While her people search for Fauna and race to unravel the unknown sect's mysterious origins, Fauna must learn to confront the deadly forces, or she and everyone she loves will die. Blood Colony, book 3, and then book 4 is My Soul to Take. And so Fauna, an immortal with tremendous telepathic abilities, is locked in a battle of wills. Her fiancé is Mikkel, but Johnny Wright, a mortal who is in love with her, believes that if she doesn't stay away from Mikkel, they will become the witness to the apocalypse described in the Book of Revelation. Fauna and the Life Brothers are rushing to distribute their healing lifeblood throughout the world, hoping to eliminate most diseases before Fauna is bound to marry Mikkel. Still, they cannot heal people faster than Mikkel can kill them. Dew weaves a tangled web in this novel, including beloved characters from her best-selling book, Joplin's Ghost, in a war of good against evil, making My Soul to Take a chilling and thrilling experience. So I read Joplin's Ghost. I'm glad that there's a connection between that standalone novel and this series. And this is the Immortal Africans or African Immortal series. Siri, I'm not talking to you.
Okay.
That's so awkward. So this is the series. And yes, looking forward to that. Okay, so 2 more, and then I'm done for this particular video. So these 2 pairs of books are parts of unfinished series that I am reading through. So the first one is this is a novel from the Escaping Exodus. I think it's called the Escaping Exodus. Is it called the series? I don't know. But anyway, the first book was Escaping Exodus by Nikki Drayden, which I enjoyed very much. And we read as part of the solar-powered Afrofuturism slow reading group. And then we have Symbiosis. And Symbiosis came out in 2021. And wait a minute. Yeah, I have this. I'm just wondering. I don't think I read this one. We talked about this year, Escaping Exodus. Okay. So, nearly 1,000 years... Oh, wait. Pause. Let me go back. What is Escaping Exodus? So, Earth is a distant memory. Habitable extrasolar planets are still out of reach. For generations, humanity has survived by establishing colonies within enormous vacuum-breathing space beasts and mining their resources to the point of depletion. Rash and unconventional Seska Calais should be preparing for her future role as a clan leader, but her people have just culled their latest beast, and she's eager to find the cause of the violent tremors plaguing their new home. Defying social barriers, Seska teams up with her best friend, a beast worker, and ventures into the restricted area searching for answers. Instead, they discover grim truths about the price of life in the void. Then Seska unexpectedly becomes clan matriarch, responsible for thousands of lives in a harsh universe. Her claim to the throne is challenged by a rival determined to take control, her intelligent, cunning, and confident sister. Seska may not be born a leader like her sister, but her unorthodox outlook and incorruptible idealism may be what the clan needs to save itself in the world. I enjoyed Escaping Exodus. We enjoyed it in the book club. And I also got these cards too, these character cards, because I purchased the book. So that's, Seska and Adala. And I love the colors on the cover. So that's Escaping Exodus, which I read. And then the sequel is Symbiosis. Nearly 1,000 years removed from Earth, the remnants of humanity cling to existence inside giant spacefaring creatures known as Zenzi. Doka Kalei, the newly minted leader of Paradox One, has brought his people back from a deadly environmental catastrophe, and they are now flourishing under his rule. The colony is on the brink of utopia, but Doka's rivals are threatened by the idea of a man sitting at the head of a matriarchy, obviously, and they sabotage him at every turn. Peace is shattered when a cataclysmic event on another Zenzi forces Doka and his people to accept thousands of refugees, endangering the delicate ecological balance he's worked so hard to create. A culture clash erupts, revealing secrets from the past that threaten humanity's future. For Doka, the stakes are higher and more personal than ever because he's fallen for the one woman he's forbidden to love, his wife, Seska. With opponents hidden in plain sight, Doka doesn't know whom to trust, and the wrong move could cost him his reign, his heart, his life. Doka and Seska must work closely together to convince the other Zenzi inhabitants to stop their destructive behavior. But when Doka and Seska stumble upon a discovery that can transform their world, they must prepare to fight a battle in which there can be no winners, but only survivors. I love that idea of no winners, only survivors. And so I've already talked about all of this. So yes, this is a pair of books that I've already read this one. I'm going to read this one at some point. So if you are into spacefaring beasts and like a new take on the sort of space opera, there you go. And then the final pair of books I'm going to talk about today are from the Song Below Water world by Bethany C. Morrow. So I read this one, A Song Below Water, this year as part of the Solar Power Afrofuturistic Slow Reading Group. And then this is not a sequel, but it is a companion book. So let's first talk about, this is one of my GDB bookmarks. Awesome. Okay. So in a society determined to keep her under lock and key, Octavia must hide her siren powers. Meanwhile, Effie is fighting her own family struggles as she is pitted against literal demons from her past. Together, these best friends must navigate the perils of high school's junior year. But everything changes in the aftermath of a siren murder trial that rocks the nation when Octavia accidentally lets out her magical voice at the worst possible moment. Soon, nothing in Portland, Oregon seems safe. To save themselves from drowning, Octavia and Effie's unbreakable sisterhood must prove to be the strongest magic of all. I very much enjoyed this book, written by Bethany C. Morrow. Bethany C. Morrow is a recovering expat recently returned from Montreal, Quebec to live and write in North Country, New York. A California native, Morrow graduated from the University of California, Santa Cruz with a BA in sociology and studied clinical psychological research at the University of Wales, Bangor. She is also the author of the adult novel Mem and the editor of a young adult anthology, Take the Mic. A Song Below Water is her debut young adult novel. And there was a character in here that I did not love but learned to understand, and she is the main character of the companion novel, which is called A Chorus Rises. And I will read this one. teen influencer Naima Bradshaw has it all. She's famous, stylish, gorgeous, and she's a loco, a charismatic person gifted with a melody that... The second novel from YA sensation Bethany C. Morrow. Teen influencer Naima Bradshaw has it all. She's famous, stylish, gorgeous, and she's a loco, a charismatic person gifted with a melody that people adore. Everyone loves her until she's cast as the villain who exposed a siren to the whole world. So this is where she was cast a villain. Dragged by the media and canceled by her fans, she feels that no one understands her side. Not her boyfriend, not her friends, not even her fellow Iloko. Vilified by those closest to her, Naima heads to the Southwest where she is determined to stage a comeback to her family, her real self, and the truth about her magic. What she finds is a new community and a flourishing group of online fans who support her. At first, it feels like it used to. The fandom, the adoration, the community that takes her side. But when her online advocates start targeting other black girls, Naima will realize that for black girls like her, even the privilege of fame has its limits. And only Naima can discover the true purpose of her power and how to use it. A Chorus Rises is a timely confrontation of the evolving nature of popularity in a society that chooses exceptions and rewards model minorities. So, Bethany Morrow, she is not pulling punches today. There are no punches being pulled. And you should watch the interview with Bethany C. Morrow that Chloe did, because she has words for us. She has things to say about the stories of black girls that we're seeing in young adult literature and what she's doing. She's performing a breach. It is important. So I loved the beautiful cover. I really enjoy the story written from the perspective of a character that I admittedly felt was the villain in the first book. So I love that she's complicating that. I'm hoping for an audio version. And yes, published by Tor in 2021. And I just love the stories of sisterhood that show up in both of these books. Yes, so that, oh, and because I got A Chorus Rises, I bought it through the pre-order, I got this great pin. So there's also that. You can't get them anymore, so haha. But also, this is a beautiful pin. All right. What does the inside look like? Let me see the inside of the book. Yeah, so it's green, purple writing. I like the colors in both of these books. Okay, that is it. Tomi's happy because she's gonna cook. And so she can cook now without worrying about the whole video situation. I shared your secret. It's not a secret, she's cooking. So that is it. So I hope that you enjoyed my haul of these books. If you've read any of these series, or if you are following along any of these series, please let me know if you enjoyed them. I'm also kind of interested in your thoughts if you've read both A Chorus Rises and A Song Below Water, or Symbiosis and Escaping Exodus. Do you feel like you need to read the series as a whole, as I'm doing with the Earthsinger Chronicles and with the African Immortals, or are you comfortable just reading books as they come along? I know for me, just because of how much I read and how slowly I read, I really have immersive reads, so it's hard for me to sometimes remember the stories, whole entire stories or characters from books that I read, especially if I'm reading in really quick succession. So let me know about that. If you have read this all the way to the end, of course I would, you know what, I don't want to stack a book. Since we're talking about series, I'd love a few separate emojis of books, and then any additional emoji that reminds you of one of the series that I talked about today, perhaps the one that you're most interested in. That is it for me. Remember to read with purpose. I will see you in part 3 of this massive haul, and I hope that you have a great rest of your week, weekend, or whenever you watch this video. That's what Tati says all the time. That is totally what Tati says. But no, please enjoy the rest of your whatever until I see you in part 3 of this series. Thanks very much for watching Read with Purpose. Bye.